Hi everyone. I'm so jazzed to be here because I obviously have not been here for a little minute. I took a break because I don't know if you guys also resonate with this. Hey, Mercury retrograde beat my ass. As I heard, it beat a lot of people's ass. I think this one was more intense than others, especially with like so much of that concentration being in Aquarius. But I took a well-needed break, and I'm very excited because I feel much more Hi, Queen! And I'm so excited because there is so much to talk about in terms of like what the astrological weather is, what we're moving into. But I think it's really important that I kind of charged myself back up so that I could show up because I have so much to say. So I hope you are all well, doing as well as you possibly can be if you're watching this live on the replay or on YouTube. I am so excited. So yes, we have a lot to discuss. This week we have a full moon. We also have Venus moving into Pisces. We also are in Pisces season, and we are finally out of Mercury retrograde. So I want to talk a little bit about just like what that transition looks like, what recovering from that looks like, and what like the energy moving forward is. I have my notes, darling. Well, I think the first thing that's really important to address is the fact that we are coming out of Mercury retrograde. And while we are still in the shadow period, and we will be for about like 2 weeks, it's really important to just like honor the journey that was. No retrograde leaves our experience without teaching us something, without allowing us to reflect, without allowing us to sort of meet something within ourselves, whether that's through challenge, through strife, through the breaking down of something, through the meeting of something new. We always leave a retrograde feeling different, feeling just like we met a new part of ourselves. So just honoring whatever that experience was for you, if it was a lot, if it was, something that was more internal, just recognizing the fact that we are moving out of it and it shouldn't have happened in vain, right? So making sure that we really harness that lesson that we learned or whatever it is that we experienced and know that it's done, right? You can breathe that sigh of relief. You can give yourself a pat on the back for surviving it because, like I said, it was a very intense one. And I think when we move out of something so intense like that, we can want to find ourselves on solid ground. And truthfully, moving out of that retrograde into Pisces season, you may not feel like you have any solid footing because Pisces season is so dreamy, it's so idealistic, and it's so... we're standing on clouds. We're not really standing on firm soil. And honestly, I think Pisces season is also coming in to say that is okay. I think a big theme that I'll talk about a little bit is just this idea of like seeing the beauty and seeing things through a rose-colored lens. I think that sometimes when we talk about that saying, right, seeing things idealistically or through a rose-colored lens, it means that we're sort of like putting this blissful filter over things and not seeing them for what it is. And it's really important to allow ourselves to see the beauty and what simply honoring the pretty in things, right? Like it's okay to have that middle ground in terms of like seeing the good and whatever is in front of you in terms of, instead of only seeing the good and not actually seeing what it's worth. So that may sound a bit convoluted, but like I'll break it down a bit further. But basically, this full moon in Virgo is coming in to say there is a balance and there is a middle ground between like experiencing fantasy and experiencing reality, being rooted in what is, foundational and what is logical and what is, 3D, and also allowing yourself to explore your dreams and knowing that you don't have to compromise on either. But moving backwards, because I'm totally just getting ahead of myself, we are moving out of that Mercury retrograde into Pisces season, which can feel like, okay, where is my solid footing? I feel like I've been like on choppy waters for quite a long time now. But Pisces season really invites you to play with that. It's okay to indulge in fantasy. Use this Pisces season to just play, to explore your mind, to get into fantasy, read something new, adorn your body, try out new looks, dance, really like indulge in the luxuries of existing. Pisces is really romantic and really dreamlike, but in a way that's different from Libra. I think Libra is very much like, I enjoy being in partnerships and I enjoy experiencing, sort of like the traditional form of flirtation and romance. But Pisces is more about like just love on the grandest scale possible. What do you love about life? Falling in love with colors, falling in love with memories and dreams, and falling in love with things that maybe are abstract, and also falling in love with people. This is a beautiful time to just like explore relationships and the different ways that they can show up in your life, exploring how deeply in love you could be with your friends and with past versions of yourself, just really like just exploring how love shows up in your life. exploring the inanimate things that you love, exploring the way that you love animals and fruits and nature, and really just indulging in the way that love is foundational for you. And just playing with magic, believing in magic again. I think that's really important. Also, it's worth noting that on the 25th, Venus moves into the sign of Pisces, which is really important because my natal Venus is in Pisces. So, child, you're going to be looking at life a little bit like I do, which is it's a little bit overtly idealistic. You may fall in love with 12 people at once, but that is okay. The point is that I think with Venus sitting in the sign of Pisces, it's a beautiful time to explore flirtation, explore yourself, explore the different ways that you show up in love, what the different love languages are for you, and just explore what you love and how that shows up, not even just relationally, but like in life. What do you like to create? How do you show up in the way that you express love through your words, through your art, through your creation? Really just like infusing whatever you do with love and trying to see everything through the lens of love, which once again sounds very convoluted, but I don't know what else you would expect in Pisces season, truthfully. And take this Pisces season as a time to play with your idealism a bit, but not to a point where it makes you irrational. So this is what I was touching on a bit earlier, because on the 27th, we have the full moon in Virgo, and Virgo is so different than Pisces, right? Pisces is very idealistic. I like to touch, I like to experience, I like to give indulgence to my senses. And Virgo is very much like, girl, come back to earth, there's no solid ground to plant those seeds that you've, just imagined for yourself, because they're not realistic. So it's not a matter of honoring either, but rather fusing both. So using this time to, sorry, it's very loud. Using this time, are they gonna stop? Hold on. Okay, it's gonna stop. Okay, using this time to see the different ways in which you can sort of cultivate these dreams and these things that you want for yourself, but finding a solid ground for them, allowing yourself to, hold on, he's gonna pass in 1 second, so I'll just wait, because I feel like that's important. How are you guys doing though? Yes, iconic, king of passing by. Okay, we love to see it. Okay, what was I talking about just now? Damn. All right, so finding the middle ground, right? So it's not about just compromising on the things that you want for yourself. I think it's really important to dream as loudly and as boldly and as bigly as you can. But it's also important to find how you can root that in something that is solid and that is to some degree logical. And it's not about just killing your dreams to be logical, nor is it about ignoring logic in order to dream big. It's about finding that middle ground. So really using this full moon that is coming up on the 27th to say, okay, there are things that I want for myself, but how can I shape shift it, and how can I make it malleable enough to where it can fit my reality, and how can I live my dreams, and how can I make my life my dream, right? It's really just finding that middle ground, but allowing yourself to believe in the fact that the fusion can exist, right? I think we categorize our dreams as something that is bigger than ourselves and that we can, see when we close our eyes, and that's kind of it. But, if you do put solid ground behind it, and if you do have steps and bullet points behind it, you can cultivate a life where it does look like what you dreamt for yourself. Oh my God, I think it's going to happen again. So let me go quickly. Balancing between fantasy and reality and not compromising on either, but finding it as a fusion of the two. Also, Mercury and Jupiter are linking up, which I think is a beautiful placement for just being able to see the bright side of things and allowing yourself to, see the benefit of looking through a rose-colored lens and knowing that you are not dimming yourself down or you're acting irrationally, but rather allowing yourself to just see the beauty in things, the collateral beauty. That's a term that I learned very recently, and I think it's really beautiful, this idea of just squeezing the nectar out of every situation. This Mercury retrograde may have been a tornado for you. It may have knocked out some relationships, some ways of thinking, some ways of being, some ways of moving forward. It may have delayed things, and whichever way it showed up for you, now that we're sort of standing in the remnants of what that storm was, it's important that we look through a rose-colored lens in terms of recognizing that whatever was knocked out was meant to, whatever was, difficult was meant to, you know, that there was beauty in every single experience that was fused within that retrograde. But now that we have the ability to sort of like rebuild everything that was knocked around, you know, taking back that control and saying, okay, well, now that I am in charge, now that, you know, Mercury has kind of given me back the reins, you know, what do I want to rebuild? What do I want to leave on the ground? And what do I want to sort of, you know, put together and piece back? Yay, thank you. I was like, I don't know if anyone can hear me, and I'm just talking to myself. The Virgo moon is here to find us help. The Virgo moon is here to help us find the middle ground between being playful with life while still maintaining a grounded nature. There was a lesson interwoven in that period of rest that I'm hoping you embarked on during that retrograde, but how are you going to implement that lesson that you learned moving forward? And lastly, this is like the last couple of points. The retrograde it played an important role in showing you what you're capable of overcoming and what you already have overcome, and really allowing that to be a tool that propels you forward, right? Recognizing the way that you've showed up for yourself, the way that you have overcome so much, and how you will continue to, honestly. But there's no obstacle that you can't sort of surpass. Hi, Queen. And the last 2 points before I go, one of them being cultivating everything. Hold on. Sorry, this is so loud. I feel so bad because I have so much to say, but I don't want it to be like overwhelming. Okay, the last one. Virgo is all about routine. So it's a beautiful time, especially this week, to not only cleanse energetically and physically, but also like cultivating a routine that honors what you learned about yourself during that retrograde, that honors what you want to show up for more. And especially with Pisces season, which is a beautiful time for intuitive nature and clairvoyances. So if you feel like you've been getting more like downloads and stuff, honor that. But also, you know, with Pisces season, how can you honor and infuse into your routine your art, your spiritual practice, the way that you show up just as a spiritual being, really infusing that and prioritizing it just as much as you would anything outside of it. And lastly, on the 3rd, Mars enters Gemini, which is a beautiful placement for us to explore our curiosity, to socialize with something or someone new. I want to set morning and evening routines. This is a beautiful time to really, it's also been something huge for me too, to really get clear on like what a morning and night routine looks like that honors this version of you that you want so badly to embody, that you already are, honestly. It's not about becoming anything, but rather like recognizing what you always have been. So really get clear on like, how can I sort of set a time period for myself and honor it and show up for it in a way where I do see my spiritual practice, and I do see me cultivating art, and I do see me just adorning myself as something important. Also, just in light of adorning yourself, this is a beautiful time, especially in Pisces season, and Venus in Pisces, to play around with like how you allow your body to be seen. So play around with different like colors, with different ways of expression, different jewelry, really just like be as playful as you possibly can while seeing the ways in which you can ground that play and ground your dreams into something that can be sustainable, right? There is a middle ground. You don't have to compromise on what you want for yourself, and you don't have to compromise on logic. Like there is a middle ground. So in summation, this is a really beautiful time. Really work with this full moon. Get clear on what your routine looks like, or what your routine can look like. Find that middle ground between your dreams and reality and see how you can fuse the two together. And be flirtatious, play, dress up, indulge in fantasy, read something, watch a new movie. Like just really play around with life and see yourself as the creator, and know that, you know, you have access to magic because you are magic. So that is the vibe. I hope that resonated. I'm trying to see if there's any other points that I missed. Yeah, really use that Virgo full moon. It's really going to help you get your shit together if the Mercury in retrograde knocked you, which 9 times out of 10, I'm assuming it did, because it knocked out so many people. This was such an intense one. But know that, you know, now that we have the power to put things back together, you know, what are you going to leave on the ground? What are you going to allow to rest there? And what are you going to replace it with? Coming back to the fact that your dreams are plausible. Your dreams, like, don't dim or shrink them, but rather find ways that you can root them in solid soil. That's what Virgo full moon in this Pisces season is telling us. Like, it's not about dreaming smaller. It's about dreaming bigger, and then sort of like piecing together how you can make that a reality, what steps you can take right now. So get clear on what your heart wants, and I think what's most important right now is seeing the way and honoring the way that love shows up in so many different ways in your life. That's Pisces right now. It's not about, relationships or, like the stereotypical monogamous way that, traditionally we see love, but rather the way that love is infused in the foods that we eat and the art that we consume and the colors that we see and the things that we're surrounded by, the memories, the childhood stuff, like just seeing how love shows up in forms of creation and expression and honoring that. So that is, I think, all that I have. But I hope that, this season serves you. I hope you guys can work with this full moon. I apologize for all the noise. Ciao. That's outside of me. But I hope that you guys are doing well, and I will see you soon.